If you hate LinkedIn, but you want to sign bigger clients, then you want to lean in and watch this video because I'm going to be breaking down the 3-step process to sign bigger clients on LinkedIn, even if you hate the platform, you're not sure how it works, or LinkedIn secretly gives you anxiety. I'm going to be breaking it down for you and making it super simple. If you haven't met me before, my name is Kirsten Allen. I work with experts, business owners, and companies to drive more corporate clients into their business. And we do that in multiple ways. But today we're talking about how we do it with LinkedIn. So let's go ahead and dive in. Okay, so first things first, I want you to understand this. Being successful on LinkedIn is not about being a top voice or a LinkedIn creator. You do not need to spend hours on the platform in order to be successful. In fact, I have an entire process that allows you to spend an hour a week on LinkedIn to get the results that you're looking for. So before we even get too deep into this, I want you to just take a breath in that and understand you do not need to even have tens of thousands of followers or connections in order for LinkedIn to be valuable for you. All you need to do is just do a few things on LinkedIn very well and your results will follow. So now that we have that understanding, hopefully that just let a little weight off of your shoulders to understand this does not have to be difficult. It can be very easy. So let's dive into the first thing that you want to do on LinkedIn in order to sign higher paying clients. First thing is treat your LinkedIn, your profile, like a personal billboard. This goes back to what I was talking about before. It's not about pumping out a whole bunch of content and making sure that you stay relevant. LinkedIn is a search engine tool. Anytime you put someone's name in or a particular topic, maybe an article or something to that effect, LinkedIn, YouTube are going to be one of the first platforms to come up to respond to those search engine queries. So what does that mean? That means when someone Googles a particular topic, or even maybe they look you up directly, your LinkedIn will be one of the first things to pop up. Use that to your advantage. Your profile should be keyword search heavy. I do an entire audit of LinkedIn profiles. So if I can give it to you in 5 seconds, it would look like this. What does your headline look like? Specific keywords. And I didn't mention that I've been trained by LinkedIn in a past life, so I know some of the things straight from LinkedIn that work on the platform. One of the key things is most people use their headline just as a way to introduce what they do, or they just have very lackluster topics there that don't speak to the audience, that don't speak to the heart of what you do, and also don't make you findable on the platform. So your keywords need to be, what are your people, what are your bigger clients searching for? A lot of my people, again, are looking to work with corporate clients. So maybe that's in workshops or trainings. I see a lot of people put keynote speaker in their bio, and I think that's great. But what exactly is it that you offer in your speaking topics that people would be looking for? Is it productivity? Is it work-life balance? Is it stress and burnout? Is it something more tactical like marketing or sales strategy? Those are the types of words that we need because, again, when people go to search, and a lot of people do search online for speakers, you want to make sure that your LinkedIn is boosting you up on the Google algorithm, the SEO land, so that you can be found on these particular topics. Next is going to be your about section, making sure it's not just a resume or a story about what you've done, but that it's very clearly crafted to show your authority, your credibility, and how people can move forward with you and take the next step. So if you can look on I'll put my LinkedIn profile in here for you to check out. But the formula that I typically use is something that gives some context to why I started to do this work anyway. Now, let me explain to you. This is not a multi-paragraph story. It's a very punchy 3 sentences. This is what I came to realize that made me understand that this work is important, and this is why I do it here today. Next part is the authority. Here's who I've done it for. I've worked for Fortune 500 companies. I've created this amount of results. This gives me credibility to have a voice in this space. Next thing is, what do I offer? Workshops, talks, keynotes, all of those types of things are included in this section. And I talk about how I serve clients. How do I round this all together? I let them know if this is something your organization is interested in or could see value in, not could, because I know they can, but that they see value in. Here's how you contact me to take the next steps. If you use that about section blueprint, it just immediately elevates your profile, and wherever someone lands, they're able to see exactly why you're the person that they need to take the next step with. Okay, so that's the about section. And then you want to scroll down to your experience. And so this should really highlight, here's the thing. If you have corporate experience, if you have deep experience in the thing that you've done, please don't leave that behind. That's one of the major mistakes that I made when I first started my businesses. I thought about what can I do that was so far off from the corporate career that I had that I ignored the very skills that people wanted to get from me. So use those corporate skills and leverage them on your LinkedIn profile to again add additional credibility. And again, those keywords should be used throughout your entire profile from that headline section all the way down into your experience. Now, the piece that we didn't talk about, which is our second step of this stupid, easy, simple way to master LinkedIn, is going to be what I call your low lift content method. So again, I spoke about using LinkedIn for 1 hour, being able to get on there, do what you need to do, and go about your business. And so with the content system, it's about a couple of different things. It's about doing content that allows you to be able to, again, boost that credibility, to show people that you know exactly how to solve the problem that they have, and to let them know and show them that you're already doing this work. So one of the things that I tell people to do from the very beginning is to post about different engagements that you've already had. What is some of the work that you've done? If you're a speaker, for example, how can you post about your past events, whether that's video, whether that's photo, whether that's just some text talking about an experience that you had and how you were able to guide a group or guide an audience to an outcome. People love to see the results on LinkedIn. If you've ever been on there just for work purposes, you see that celebration posts. I got this new role, or I had this new appointment, or whatever the case may be. Those posts tend to get a lot of eyeballs because that's what the platform enjoys: visuals, results, accomplishments. Use that to your advantage. Even if you have to look at past things that you've done, but you've never posted about or talked about, maybe in your past life you solved this particular problem or you had this great win in your role, give us a story and talk to us about it and share what the outcome was. That is, again, boosting that credibility. And it's showing us that you have a framework, you have a methodology, you have an approach for how you look at things. The second piece of content that you want to do on LinkedIn is your personal content. This is another thing that gets a lot of views that people sleep on. So these are posts about what are some of the values that you have? What are some of the interests that you have that relate to your work? How has something affected you in your work and it shapes how you approach it today? Those types of things that aren't just you sharing what you ate for breakfast, but are really insights. That's what does well on LinkedIn. So if you think about the nerdy content, if you're one of those people like, I don't like to dumb or water my stuff down, LinkedIn is going to be a good place for you because it thrives off of insights. So even if you're taking a personal situation like maybe a parenting thing that happened, right? How do you then apply that to what you're doing in business or what you're offering as a business so that individuals can connect with you on that particular area, but they also see that you're not just sharing random things. You're a person who thinks deeply and has insights that you can connect to solve their problems. All right. So then once you have like those key pieces of content, then you can begin talking about how people can work with you. So this is going even deeper into sharing what your frameworks are. And when I work with people, sometimes they haven't fully wrapped around what their framework will be that they'll go and teach into corporate. And so what I do is I say, okay, well, if they had this problem, if you encountered this problem in an organization, what are the steps that you would take them to solve it? So a lot of my people, they work with the HR side of business. So that is leadership development, professional development, all these different ways to support the employees, right? So they've had tons of experiences that have either went really well or really bad. And what we do is look at that experience. Okay, say burnout is the topic that this particular client is wishing to really focus in on LinkedIn. So we're looking at what are all the experiences that you had that you knew burnout was the root cause, and how did you help walk an organization or walk a team or walk yourself through how to get out of burnout? What were the steps? Then you take that and that's your loose framework that you're going to be walking people through if you do a workshop, if you do a keynote speech or whatever the case may be. But your first step is to use it in your content. Show people how these things apply and matter to the problems that they're solving. And I want to just stop right here because I know many of you may be thinking, well, this is my first time teaching this in a corporate context, then I really don't have the insights to say, do this, do this, do this, and here's how it's going to work. What I want you to do is think about this. For every single framework, for every way that you solve problems, there's already data out there that's backing why this thing works. Another piece that you can leverage and sprinkle in through these content types is data. The platform loves data. So even if this is your first time really massaging this framework into a corporate workshop, into a corporate keynote speech, or whatever the case may be, I want you to leverage the data that's already out there that you can use. So Google is your friend in this case. Go on Google, look up burnout statistics, look up how people are already approaching it, and use that data to underpin your particular frameworks and the facts that you know that work. So let me explain this in an easy way. So say that one of the things that you know to be a solution for burnout is taking time off. There's going to be many articles online that already walk through the benefits of what taking time off does for an employee's mindset, for morale, for the bottom line, and all of those things. So say you find a statistic, this isn't real, I'm just making it up, that says 50% of employees who take, at least one vacation a week end up creating, 80% more productivity in their role, right? That's good information. So now you use that. And when you say that this is one of the key aspects that help prevent burnout, you can then say, and based on this particular Forbes article, this is the data that was shared. This is why this is important. And I help people be able to master this so that they can get this particular result. So you see how you can even pull third-party information, things that are already out there, into what you already know that's true, and then present it with the black and white facts that are already produced, so that, again, it does boost your credibility, but it also shows that you think about this outside of the box and you've developed a process for them to be able to solve the problem. All right, I'm getting too into it. I'm getting too excited about it, but that's the type of things that, even if you're just starting out in the corporate space, because I want to be clear, I know many of you are not just starting out in your particular expertise, because you know what you've done. You've got decades of experience and years doing this. Now you're just moving into a different arena. Utilize data, utilize the experience that you've already had, every piece of it in the beginning, to begin to build that credibility. Okay. All right, so we talked about setting your profile up as a billboard, and I went through the areas that you want to focus on to ensure you are findable on LinkedIn. That's about 50% of the battle, is being findable. Then the other part of it is what we just talked about with creating your content. So making sure that it is very visible, first of all. So making sure you use those keywords and those topics that your people would be searching for, but that is also insightful, that makes people say, I need to connect with her because she knows exactly what we're going through, and she knows how to solve this problem, or he knows how to solve this problem. The last piece of this entire process that's really going to supercharge you doing well on LinkedIn and landing these bigger clients is outreach. I know. Y'all probably want to cut the video off right now, because you've probably gotten a million DMs from people on LinkedIn trying to sell you appointment setting, trying to do all these different things that you're just like, this is why I don't get on this platform, because I don't want to see all this junk, right? So when I say outreach, it is not about any of that. Honestly, that's spamming. That's a totally different thing that we're not even talking about in this video. We're talking about quality, dedicated outreach that actually moves the needle to create conversations. So a lot of times people are looking for, what is their corporate pitch? How do I pitch corporations? And what I tell people, your first mission is to get them on a phone call. Get them on a conversation where you can learn more about their priorities, what they're looking for, what they're budgeting for, and how what you have could be a solution to them. I'm going to need you to run that back. How is it that what you have creates a solution for them? Not enough people approach it in that way. And that's why pitching and cold outreach doesn't work, because it's about I'll say pitching and cold outreach doesn't work because most of it is about me. Here's what I offer. Here's how you can buy it. What's up? And that's not it. When it comes to especially bigger clients in the sense of corporate deals, It's about aligning with the priorities that they already have. It's about having a conversation and understanding them and being a thought partner rather than another salesperson. Okay. So here's how I look at outreach. First of all, building your connections. I talked about you don't need to have 45,000 connections or whatever the case may be. I think I have like 2,500 connections right now, and I'm very pleased with my platform. I don't focus on those particular numbers because I use this outreach strategy that again helps to supercharge. So I'm a sales girl. That is how I got here today talking to you guys about this. So, a part of this is going to be how do I identify the people who are my decision makers and make sure that I'm not just waiting on them to come to me. Like the searching is the content, the profile, again, that's doing 50% of the battle, but then I'm also doing some of that dedicated work to connect with people in order to supercharge my results. So, this starts out with looking at who is your ideal buyer. As I mentioned to you before, many of my people work with folks that are in HR because they do some type of employee related service, whether that is leadership development, professional development, or something experiential for the employees. So I'm going to focus in on that. But even if your particular expertise might be in something like marketing or sales or whatever the case may be, more specific, that's even easier to figure out who your particular decision makers would be. So with going in that HR example, a lot of times the best people to connect with are those who are already running leadership development programs or training programs or employee engagement folks, or depending on the size of the company, it might just be your general HR people. And so once I've identified what are some of the organizations, whether that is, and we could do a whole video on this, on the different types of corporations that you could work with, but whether that is your traditional for-profit organizations, all the big names, or even smaller names that you think about, it could also be nonprofits. It could also be universities, y'all, my favorite clients. It could also be K-12 institutions or other accelerators, organizations. So the opportunity is vast. And I tell people, once you go down this LinkedIn rabbit hole, you will realize there's more connections than any one of us could have taken on as clients. And you start to see the vast amount of opportunity that's available to you when you know what to look for. And that's what we're walking through in this video. So once I've identified that those are the type of people that will typically make decisions, I do a quick scan of their profile. Are they already over leadership programs? Do I already see them hosting events? Do I see them talking about the topics that I can serve on, right? That's one of the key indicators that let me know this should be someone that I should be connecting with. I always start with connection. This is another thing about those spammy messages. They come randomly using the in-mail feature that LinkedIn has, right? I always say I'm going to connect first, and I do that by sending a note with my connection. That way, a person can decide if they want to connect with me or not. I'm not just forcing my way into their inbox with no context. So no, we don't do that. What we do is offer a connection request, just like knocking on someone's door. If they decide to let you in, then we can have a conversation, but I'm not going to bulldoze my way in. That's never going to work. So I send that connection request. And if the person accepts, then again, that's a great indicator that they're open to having a conversation. And then from there, I would do a few things. I would understand what's going on in their world from what I can see on their profile, or maybe their particular role. I might already have an understanding of what they do and what they typically face. And again, my goal is that conversation. So, hey, such and such, thanks for accepting my request, or I'm glad to be connected with you here on LinkedIn. I noticed that you just put on this amazing leadership development program for women. It seemed to have gone off well. Some of the topics that stood out to me were X, Y, and Z. Have you ever thought about, insert this thing that I saw that was missing from the agenda? I'd love to be able to talk with you about potentially adding this to your future programs, or even when this event comes up again. Would you be open to a quick conversation about what that could look like? I literally just gave you a rough script on how you can reach out to people that actually works. I use this script, I teach this script, and I hate to use the word script because it's really just a framework. And what I teach people is to use their own language. And so it's not just about copying and pasting what I said, it's about understanding the flow of what I said. I saw this, I noticed this. Here's what I saw that was missing in this case, because I'm saying it was an event or something that I saw. Would you be open to having a conversation about X, Y, and Z that could benefit what I've already researched about you? That right there is the game changer for how this all is going to work, especially as you're doing more outreach to people who don't know you. They want to know that, first of all, you have done enough to even look at what they do. When it comes to this world of AI or people just reaching out and spamming folks, they don't look, they don't do any research. That is an advantage to you. Do a quick scan. Look at what's going on. Do some research to see what typically happens in their industry or in their role that they might be facing. You would be surprised how many people respond just because you did 5 minutes of research. That is how you stand out in a world of AI. That is how you stand out in a world where they're getting tons of emails and tons of LinkedIn messages, is by just sparking some interest, showing that you did some type of research. So then from there, they'll be like, hey, I'd be open to talk to you. I've literally had people respond to clients and be like, I never respond to these messages or these emails, but I could feel your personality. I could feel your genuine nature. I could feel what you were saying behind the words. And that's why I responded. So again, this works because it's taking the human touch that AI, that spamming people, that getting a list and sending the same copy and paste message to could never do. And it's using the natural way that they do business. These people are at work to solve problems. They're not here to respond to your emails. They're not even here to hire you or give you a contract. They're here for a particular job. And if you can help them be able to do that job better, make it clear, make it plain on how they can do it, then they will partner with you to achieve their ultimate objectives, to keep their job, to get promoted, to make sure that they're doing the best at their role and for their team. And that's the mindset that you want to have. I'm going to help you be able to do that. And with that, you'll always have a corporate partnership. All right. So I said a few different things about this, and the main key piece that I want to do to kind of button this up on this outreach piece is, one, understanding who you're targeting. Two, coming to them with a message that really aligns with what they need right now and opening up a conversation. And three, which is the last piece of this, making sure that you're following up, that you're keeping in touch with them, that you are looking at what's going on in their world and continuing to stay abreast of those things. A lot of contract opportunities are missed simply because people do not re-engage. Again, I mentioned this to you a moment ago. They're not here to respond to your emails. They're not at work to make sure that they engage with you. So if that is the case, you have to understand they may not respond to the first email or the first outreach. How are you going to keep them engaged on an ongoing basis to not beg, to not plead, to not be annoying, but to stay top of mind as a key value add that they want to respond to? If you can get in that space in their mind where you don't just become a person trying to sell something and being annoying and reaching out and saying, what do you have for me type of thing, which hopefully nobody listening to this is doing, but I've heard that verbatim from corporate decision makers, that people literally come up and be like, well, what do you have? What contract opportunities do you have for me? That's not it. This is about creating your own contracts by being a thought partner, by being a service provider, but by being someone who's thinking ahead of their needs and partnering with them on what a solution can look like. Okay. So that follow-up system is going to be important, but to do it powerfully, to always think about in terms of your follow-up messages, it should be adding value in each message, not, hey, I'm just bumping this up, or hey, it's like, hey, I found this insight. Hey, I just looked at this article that was related to something that you mentioned or that you shared, or something that's relevant to your particular industry or your role. Would love to chat with you and do a debrief about this. Again, that is your major, major advantage in this world of technology increasing and things happening at a faster rate, is how do you slow down and do that human touch that no one else can do? So in your follow-ups, think about that piece as well. All right, that's your 3 steps. That's how you're going to kill it in LinkedIn. So let's put this now into a practical LinkedIn an hour. What do you need to do every day in order to not necessarily make LinkedIn your best friend, but use it to land bigger clients? So number 1 is going to be day 1. I want you to optimize your profile. I want you to go through each section. I want you to first start with your headline. Make sure those keywords are very clear and searchable. I want you to clean up your about section using that structure that I gave you a moment ago. And then I want you to post 3 pieces of content. I want you to share with people a little bit about your personal story, why that makes you passionate about the work you do. I want you to then share your frameworks, your processes that are going to solve the problems for your audience. You could do this in text, you could do a video, whatever is simplest for you. Get it done. And then the last thing I want you to do is let people know that you're open for business. Tell them that you're now booking speaking engagements. Tell them that you're now booking consulting agreements or whatever the case may be that you're offering, not consulting agreements, but now that you are offering consulting services that you can help people with. Give us the tea on how we can work with you in this post, and let us know what type of outcomes your clients can expect by working with you. Again, go back to your past experience, go back to your corporate experience, or even what you've done with entrepreneurs. What are the outcomes that you've already driven? Use those as your credibility for how people can get these results with you, and invite them to send you a message or an email if they want to learn more about how you and your organization can support them. Very clear. 3 posts. All right. So if we put this into days, day 1 is going to be optimizing your profile. That shouldn't take you any more than an hour. It should really take about 30 minutes. Don't make it perfect. Just make it effective. Day 2 is going to be putting out those posts so you can draft them on that first day and make sure that they're very clear. But again, don't overthink. Just do those 3. I want you to pin them to the featured section on your profile, which is really clear. You just click the 3 dots on the post and you're able to pin it or feature it to your profile. So it's right there front and center. Then the last thing I want you to do on the 3rd day is begin adding connections that are relevant to your particular services, what you offer, your decision makers. I want you to start building your network with those connections. You could do 5 or 10 a day. It's not about, again, getting to 45,000 people. It's about who are those aligned connections that you should be having in your network. You may start with thinking about companies that you want to work with, and then just doing a deep dive of who are the decision makers in your particular area, and adding, again, those 5 or 10 people to your network. Okay. So that's your 3-day LinkedIn Jumpstart. Profile, content, build your network. With that, you are already off to the races to having some great conversations on the books and making 2026 the year that you stop hating LinkedIn and actually use it to get big clients. All right. I've enjoyed this with you. If you got some great value, if you stuck with me to the end, first of all, let me know in the comments. And then I also want to hear your feedback. What is your greatest takeaway from this video that you are going to apply right now? Because all the learning in the world means nothing if you don't execute. So I want you to pull one thing in addition to the 3-day system that I gave you that you're going to do right now in order to ensure LinkedIn is a lead generator for you for bigger clients moving into the new year or whenever you watch this. All right. And if you're like, okay, I'm excited about this, I'm going to get my LinkedIn set up, but there are some key pieces in terms of being able to deliver and work with corporate clients that I want to make sure are clear. I want to know what I'm offering, who I'm offering it to, and what's the best way to package my services when these clients start reaching out to me and saying that they want to work with me. I've got something special for you. I have just created a brand new corporate clients assessment, and this basically helps you understand where you are on the scale of being ready to work with corporate clients. It's a 5-minute quiz, questions developed by me, where I'm asking you exactly about your business, what you're offering, and giving you a very clear report and diagnostic with percentages and everything that lets you know what areas that you want to focus on as you continue to grow your business and your opportunities with corporate clients. I write all the responses based on your results. And so you're going to be getting a clear report on what to do next and next steps to fill in order to be more successful in landing these clients. So if that is something that you want to understand as you are moving into this, which I get the feeling if you've watched this whole video, then you definitely want to understand how you can get more corporate clients, take the quiz. The link is below. Again, it takes 5 minutes and you get your report instantly, exactly with the next steps that you need to do in order to get more corporate clients into your business. I can't wait to see your results. So go ahead, dive in and take the quiz. I am so looking forward to being able to connect with you on this. Now, make sure that you like and subscribe this video so that this can get out to more people, but also so that I can create more topics like this for you. Let me know what other things you're interested in, what other questions that you have as it relates to getting more corporate clients or even just doing more on LinkedIn in order to attract these clients. And that will help us be able to create more videos for you just like this. All right, go take action. Opportunities are out here for you everywhere, and I will see you soon.